All righty, welcome in. Hanna Time. Cornelius Brad, Hanna, Global Sports Broadcasting Network. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to kind of wrap up that Super Bowl. We're going to move on to the Suns. We're going to move on to the Cardinals. We're going to talk about some baseball, too, on the back end. But definitely the Super Bowl. There's some topics that people still want to talk about. We're going to get into that in 30 seconds. I'm going to give you the 30-second countdown right here on Hanna Time. Stay with me. We're going to come right back in 3-0. All right, welcome back. It's Hanna Time. Cornelius Brad, Hanna, coming to you live from the GSPN studios. And we got a big one for you on this podcast. I was tipped off on Super Bowl 57 about the turf. I was about a few weeks prior to Super Bowl 57. And as the game proceeded through the night, a lot of people were complaining about the turf, the field, the players slipping. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about what was told to me about maybe 3 weeks prior to the Super Bowl. You're going to like to listen to this one. Also, the halftime show, Rihanna, a lot of people complained. But, man, if you put it all together, folks, and if you were there in person, there's no doubt it was one of the best ones in a very long time. And we're also going to prove it to you. Yes, we have proof. And the big game itself, a lot of stuff that we're going to break down and why it happened and why the Chiefs won and was it a penalty? Should have it been? All that stuff. We're still going to kind of close it out right here on Hanna Time. We're also going to talk about the new head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. That was big news in the NFL today. Also, Phoenix Suns, Kevin Durant. My goodness. Suns in 4. How about 4 starters? Suns in 4 that are pretty damn good. The Phoenix Suns introduced Kevin Durant today at a press conference, and now everybody's amped up in the West, the Western Conference, about how far the Suns can go, and it's pointing to the NBA title now, just like that. All right, and also we're going to talk about some baseball. The baseball has a pitch clock that's going to be broken down. I'm going to break it down for you. It's kind of quirky. It's not like as simple as it may be, but there's different scenarios when this game clock, the pitch clock, needs to be or is going to be used. Okay, we're going to break it down. Also, the bases around Major League Baseball are going to be bigger, wider, longer than the ones in before. We're going to compare it. We're going to let you see how this is. Hopefully it's preventing more injuries because there's a lot of injuries at the bag, trying to run through the bases, or also defenders or infielders blocking the base or in the way. There's more room for the slide or the run through the bag itself, helping preventing more injuries is the big part of it all. But, and I don't know how you can miss a bag. There's no way you can miss this one. It's pretty big. It's pretty big itself. Also, all right, then Mark Mancini, the man mail, come in here in about maybe 30 minutes or so. Scrolling across the bottom of my screen are my sponsors itself. Please check them out as we go through the show itself. And also, you can watch it right now over at Roku TV, Facebook, on ASAP Sports Network, Twitch, Global Sports Broadcasting Network, on YouTube itself, Instagram, Momento Plus, Viva Network, Tiki TV, Herigo TV, LinkedIn, and also Global Sports Broadcasting Network. And the audio radio style is Hanna Time, live sports TV podcasts. Your host right here. All right, so let's get into it, folks. Right away, the big story that seemed to take over the Super Bowl on Sunday was about the AstroTurf, the complaints all over the country, all over the world. Players slipping and falling down. Now, I'm going to get right to it. What I was told, and how I'm going to break it down for you. Okay. So Beautiful, beautiful field. It looked amazing. It really did. But underneath all that grass, was it holding long enough? They basically put that field in within a 4-week span. Okay. So that field comes in and it basically 4 weeks and then it's being played on. Okay. Maybe a little over 4 weeks. Yeah, about 4 weeks. Yes, no doubt. And what they ended up doing was tearing up the old field, putting in like this sandbox. There's heavy sand all over. They patted it down, looked like they're going to grow some corn or something, right? And then they brought in the sod, okay, and the grass. And bringing in the field in sod is not uncommon. It's been going on for decades now, okay? So they're bringing in. Supposedly it's a new way of doing it, or new grass, a new sod. Okay, that's what we were told. But they bring it in, they lay it down like rug, they patch it in sections, and they just kind of bold over it and make it nice and tight. And they water it and hope on the roots, and it grabs and it holds in a 4-week span. Okay. Now, it is Arizona. It is drier. And getting it wet and keeping it moist and heavy has always been a problem. When it's dry, things turn to sand. Okay. Dirt, dry, dusty. Okay. Now, the field looked great as it started to form in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. By the week of the Super Bowl itself, the field looked amazing. It looked beautiful. Okay. They never stopped working during the day and at night, all through it. But I'll tell you right now, what tipped me off stayed in the back of my head until the game started and I started realizing, oh my gosh, was this real? What was told to me. And George Toma, this man right here in the photograph with me, is the sod father. Okay. George, 54 Super Bowls. He led it all. The last 3, he's been a consultant, volunteering. His son is part of the big crew, the big guy now running it. And Cardinals, groundskeepers and everybody else are all involved around the NFL. And I was able to meet George. And George talked to me about his life, everything about him, how far he came back from his tough days of living, working in the steel mills, right? And didn't want to do that. He became a legend. A legend. Okay. He was from Pennsylvania, has a close heart to the Eagles. Then he ends up in Kansas City, where the Royals, the Chiefs, and Missouri, all the different schools and professional sports in Missouri, he became the guy, especially the Kansas City Chiefs. So, George Toma, I'm going to get this off the screen and get a better shot of him. Okay. This is him. This is more of a close up. This is actually the Super Bowl. This is the field they played on. Okay. And they're just starting to put some paint on the field. Now, I was able to talk to George as we were waiting for something to happen. I was in a stall position, meaning I couldn't do what I had to do. I had to wait. And there was George. And I said hi to him. Just wanted to say hi. Nothing more, no comment. He wanted to talk. And he started talking as I was waiting to proceed when I got the green light. George kept talking. I asked questions about his life, his career, the people he met, all the big moments, the big people, the big games, everything. It was awesome. One day I'll have to tell you more about the stories that he told me. But the story became the field on Super Bowl 57. So, George, I said, hey, would you mind a quick little selfie with me? I'd love to use it on my podcast one night and talk about you and everything else that you've done for the NFL on the field in Super Bowl 57. He goes, no problem. Yeah. Old man. He's in his 90s. He's got his cane with him. He goes, all right. I get out and I'm trying to put my arm around him. And he goes, you know what? Come with me. Come with me. He leads me up the ramp onto the field, like as you see in this photograph right now. So I'm on the field. There's nobody on it. They've done their work for the time being. And I asked George, are you okay with this? Is this okay? And he goes, don't worry. Like he's the sod father. He's like, nobody's going to stop him. And I was a little nervous because it was very, you don't go near it, right? But this guy led me up there, of all people. He's the man. So we took the photograph. Then we walking back off the field, down the ramp, and I asked him, I said, "What do you think? How was the field? Are you happy?" And he goes, "It's not there yet." And this is about 2 weeks away from the Super Bowl, about maybe 2 weeks. Like in that second, there's 4 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl when everything starts to play out, right? They're already working on it. So 4 weeks before the Super Bowl, by week 2, almost halfway through, he wasn't quite there yet because it's not there yet. I'm not happy yet. I'm not satisfied. And as the week went on and throughout the next 2 weeks, they worked hard on it. It looked better and better, nicer. It looked beautiful. It looked great. But when the game was played and we started watching players slip and slide, cleats, changing cleats, all the stories we heard about it made me think back. He wasn't quite happy, George Toma, the sod father. Why is that? Why was that? I wish I could ask him again. But throughout his 54 years of preparing for a Super Bowl field or preparing it, you would think he would know the timetable of getting a field ready for a big game. You would think he would, right? So by the time it was week 2, with 2 weeks to go before kickoff, he wasn't happy. He wasn't satisfied. He wasn't confident yet. He was waiting. So he knew right then and there maybe something was off. Thinking about it and watch what happened on the field, maybe it never got to the expectation that George knew it needed to be, or that all of them knew, and they just maybe thought it was ready. But you never know what happens underneath the grass. I'll get George off the screen there, okay? That's George Toma, the sod father, who took a lot of heat, but he's not employed to do all this stuff, but got a lot of recognition this last week. But I did get a chance to meet him, talk to him. And the one thing you got to understand is there's a big sandbox underneath that turf. They lay it in like a rug. And they just water it down and they mash it down, roll it over these bulldozers, and they just try to really get this condensed and heavy so the roots can take place and hold and get tight by the time kickoff on Super Bowl Sunday. Now, the layer, I saw the sod itself. It was like that much. It was the grass. It wasn't like long grass. It was like that much. And the rest was like here was the sod, like where the brown stuff is, right? You got a little green, like a little green up here. So it was very low cut, very thin. Just trying to look back on it. But my assumption at this point, it's all I can do, is what he told me. He wasn't quite happy about halfway through, about 2 weeks of preparing that field. So it makes you think. All right, here's some comments and here's some stuff about this, about George itself. He was really getting questioned. The theory, the bill thinks to the slippery field. People are upset about it, but they're blaming him. It's not George's fault. He literally sat in a chair at the edge of the back of the end zone and just watched with his cane and just advised and consulted everybody else who was in charge, including his son who was leading it. Okay. Now, why was it that the Chiefs didn't have quite as much problems did the Philadelphia Eagles? This is Ollie Connolly. Okay, Ollie charted and slipped in a slip sod game. So he went back and watched the game and he counted and did a percentage, a little math. And he says the Eagles had a defense slipped 38% of the time on Mahomes' dropbacks for pass. Every time Mahomes dropped back for pass, he counted 38%. They lost traction coming out of the blocks, coming off the snap. Now, that's not – that's think about it, almost half the plays, or, it's a lot. 38%. It's a lot of plays when he's going back to pass Mahomes that you cannot get to the quarterback because you're slipping. Your traction's not there. This is a team that led the league in sacks, 70. While the Chiefs' defense players slipped 14% of the times on Jalen Hurts' dropbacks. Okay? So big difference. Why were the Chiefs more prepared? Why were the Chiefs not slipping? What were the Eagles doing? What was going on? You want to blame it on the turf, or do you want to blame it on something on the Eagles side that they did not adjust well or plan to this better? Or maybe it's other elements involved. All right, we're going to move on. Okay. Now, you saw about the halftime show with Rihanna and everything else, okay? And what a performance, folks. I mean, if you don't really So Rihanna came out floating down on a little mini stage, right? And if you didn't notice, it looked like a diamond. That's the last song she sang, and it shaped out like a diamond, pointed out like that. But pregnant, brave, sang amazingly. She was live. It was not lip syncing, folks. And it wasn't theatrical. Maybe because she was pregnant. It wasn't like she had to do all this flashy stuff. For the first time in a while, people appreciated the fact that it was just not all about the glitz. It was about the singing, which she was great. The choreograph was good. And I have to say, her entrance and departure was amazing with all her dancers up there hanging. It's amazing. Folks, you got to be understanding that one. Now, it was hard that she wore a red dress and the stage was like this red. It was almost like a hot pink red. So it kind of blended in with her. That part I didn't quite understand. The dancers were great. They were all professionals. I thought she hit a home run. I really did. What a comeback for her. Now, if you think about this too, the dancers are all professional. They brought out so many of them. I don't know how they can find them, but they were backstage. This is or back in the stadium underneath where the locker rooms are, and they're all lined up as they're getting ready for the halftime. There was about 2 minutes to go before half, and I was walking through, and there they were. Right, I'm thinking, are they penguins? Like, I was asking them questions. I went up to them, and they were just covering up their white, outfit. There's a lot of jokes going on what they were wearing, but they were so psyched, so spirited. They were so excited for the moment to be out there. They all knew they were all going to be dancing, and they're all going to be on TV probably, right? So it was like a very big moment for them too. There was really a fun, emotional moment watching these people about to go on to the big stage itself. I thought it was fantastic. Now for Rihanna, for all the complaints we heard, I'm going to show you proof that this was one of the best performances and most watched halftime show in a very long time. And if not in the history of the halftime show, she is ranking in the top 2 of all time with her performance. Kid you not. People wanted to watch her. And the fact that they stayed longer to watch her, that's how the ratings worked out. So many people watched it. They had ratings for her just for watching it for a moment and throughout. She ranked second behind Katy Perry, of all people, back in 2017. Here's a stat for you, folks. I'll put it on the screen for you. So Rihanna helped bring Super Bowl viewership out of a dip. Think about this. People were not happy last year. As much as a generation of people who loved the hip-hop era, that this was their time, nobody responded the way. It was the lowest it ever was a year ago. It was really bad. It started dropping right after the Katy Perry performance. A lot of dips. But the Rihanna and her performance and people being excited for her and then finding out that she is pregnant and stayed with it, watching her, got the second highest of all time. The biggest takeaway was Rihanna's performance, and the game itself had a nice impact on it because people were very much intrigued about the big matchup between the Chiefs and the Eagles itself. So that helped. That really helped. Plus, there was a lot of money bet on this game, the most it's ever seen before. So I'm sure a lot of people wanted to make sure They were watching this game as from head to toe. But let me tell you more about the Rihanna thing, okay? And the reason why I'm talking about it, because it's been on my mind ever since people started complaining about it. And the biggest takeaway from Rihanna's performance in the game itself, it was a return to form. Everything about it, getting back to the basics of a show itself. Okay, nothing outlandish. People complained about her little Michael Jackson moment. Maybe that was her. Thank you to Michael. Maybe Michael inspired her, right? We don't. Did you know? People just wanted to complain. Lady Gaga performed a Super Bowl in 2017 where the New England Patriots staged an improbable 28-3 comeback. Okay, there was a comeback in that game, and there was a comeback in this game. The second biggest comeback in Super Bowl history was on Sunday, last Sunday. The biggest comeback in Super Bowl history was the Patriots over the Atlanta Falcons. And again, the highest rating. So Gaga, Katy Perry, and Rihanna. The top 3 ratings in quite a long time for the Super Bowl. Okay? That is fact. Now, calculated the way Rihanna's show went and dominated, her halftime performance drew 5% more viewers than the Kansas City Chiefs and the Eagles averaged throughout the game. Okay? That is the second highest figure since the earliest data of 2011, trailing only 5.6 bump that Lady Gaga gave and scored in 2015. It also was worth noting that on average, the halftime show draws 3.1% viewers or more viewers. Like people jump in to watch it. Okay, besides the game. Rihanna bested that. She beat that. Okay, she beat it by 65%. Okay, she went above the 3.4. She rocked it by 65%. And people are complaining about it. So the Super Bowl halftime show with a new sponsor involved with Apple and everything else went very well. And her performance under those conditions, phenomenal stuff, folks. Phenomenal stuff, okay? They reached a new high with 7 million streams watching this because of the Super Bowl, the game itself, and Rihanna. However, the post-streaming totals don't capture the halftime show's viewership, though. Okay. So with that being said, Rihanna crushed it with 118.7 million viewers tuning in for her performance across televisions. Okay? Even if you subtract this year's 7 million streaming figure, Rihanna's show marks as one of the strongest performing halftime shows since 2017. But the raw numbers don't tell the full story. She was phenomenal. Congratulations to Rihanna. And good luck with your newborn. Hopefully everything goes well. All right. So Super Bowl 57 is over and done. The stadium looked amazing. It was really well done. Everything about it. The Arizona Super Bowl committee did a fantastic job, and a lot of positive energy throughout the week leading up to the big game itself. Here's some stuff about Super Bowl 57 too. So if you're wondering about it, forced turnovers in the game itself. Why did the Eagles lose? How did the Eagles lose? I said this on paper. I'll take this back off the screen. I said this on paper, I should say, that the Eagles will win this Super Bowl on paper because the matchups, everything else. But they don't win, or the reason why they won't win is because they screw up. They allow this Chiefs team to hang around, right? And at one point, the Eagles were playing up to par, meaning they were up double digits. They were in control. It was 21-7, right? 20, right. So what I'm getting to is the Eagles were about to blow them out. They had a lot going on for them. They were in full force. They looked like the Eagles that beat the Giants. Right? It looked like the Eagles that beat up on the Niners and everybody else during the season. They were on a roll, and it was about to be a blowout. Everybody at halftime was talking about it. But going back to that first quarter, or that first half, that defensive touchdown flipped everything. For one, On paper, that wasn't supposed to happen because the Eagles were a number one team in the NFL on scoring defense. Their defense scoring points. Number two was the Kansas City Chiefs, 15 points below. The Chiefs made it happen. That was huge. My prediction was 30-20 Eagles with everything lined up, no problems. Everything was no penalties, right? No turnovers, right? Straight up 30-20. It flipped. Right when that defensive touchdown changed everything. The Eagles got back on a roll, and what they did was fantastic. They extended their lead, got back in the groove, were in control again. But some penalties, right? Certain little things were popping up. The punt return, special teams, the turnover, okay? Not getting to the quarterback, no sacks. Were starting to work its way against them. And the Chiefs came out of that locker room with a different plan, changed it up, started running the football, get back to that play action, and then it was all Chiefs at that point. It was, what was it? 24. It was 24-14 at halftime, right? From that point on, the Chiefs scored 21 points and the Eagles kicked one field goal. Okay? Big turnaround. But you go back to the special teams, the big punt return, you go back to the touchdown on defense by Nick Bolton. Big, huge parts of the game. It flipped everything, especially that turnover for a touchdown. So going back to that stat of Super Bowl 57, the Eagles, forced turnovers, 0 sacks. Mahomes to complete 78 of his passes. They allowed him 78 completions of his passes. That's not the Eagles' defense. Now, you got to give the Chiefs a lot of credit, though. They are a Super Bowl champ, and they earned their way to the Super Bowl. But on paper, a lot of people had it right. The Eagles were favored. They were the better team on paper. But the games get played. 6.1 yards per rush. Kansas City has 6 points. Like everything about the Eagles defense that you thought was going to be a big difference was the complete opposite. If that defense played it where it's supposed to, this never happens. They are Super Bowl champions. All right. They allow the longest punt return in Super Bowl history, a defensive touchdown, right? They're slipping and sliding on the grass. The Chiefs are not slipping and sliding. Man, everything was in the Chiefs' favor. Everything went all to the Chiefs. Hail to the Chiefs. I mean, they had all the breaks, and they only won by 3 points. Think about that. Put that in perspective, folks. Put that in perspective. That the Chiefs won by 3 points. Barely escaped. It took everything. It took a great performance by Mahomes. Gutsy performance, right? It took some great performance by Kelsey again, right? A running game that showed up on a defense that was supposed to be great. Special teams. The fumble return for a touch. So much. Some penalties. Some timely penalties that the Eagles committed. The Chiefs got every break possible and barely won. So for those that did not believe that the Eagles were much better, yes, you are correct. It took so much good luck to happen for the Chiefs, and they earned it. They earned that luck. They made it happen to squeak out a win. Put that in perspective. A win is a win. I get it. But for all the predictors who had the Eagles winning, I think you were right on. Because if you eliminate the touchdown on defense, right, you eliminate that punt return. So those are hard to do. Even if you give them the punt return, that touchdown on defense was huge. Huge. Those are on like unforced errors, right? Or forced, like you're committing errors. giving them points, giving them opportunities. For the Chiefs, those were forced opportunities. They forced, and it happened. They grabbed the ball and ran for a touchdown. They on the punt return. It was, so the Chiefs did their part. But for whatever reason, the Eagles did not play like the Philadelphia Eagles. They still scored 35 points, but they gave up 38. And that's alarming. That was not supposed to happen. Right? And you give all the credit to the Chiefs to just keep coming, and scoring. But it didn't happen for the Eagles itself. And it's a tough loss, painful loss, right? You did a lot of great things out there. For Mahomes itself, great credit, gives Jalen Hurts some love that, in loss, it was great performance. The fact that, Jalen Hurts led them down the field, down by 7, down by 8, right? And Mahomes gives him a lot of love. That's nice to see. Really nice. For Mahomes itself, he is one of 2 quarterbacks active in the NFL. Can you see that other face? Do you know who that other face is? Who is active in the NFL, has 2 Super Bowl rings? That is Garoppolo. That's Garoppolo and Mahomes, both with 2 Super Bowl rings. Garoppolo won one as a backup with the New England Patriots. Okay. All right. Now, you're at the Super Bowl. You fly halfway around the world. You're Australian, right? You love American football. I had to go. You got to fly, spend lots of money on a flight, right? Then you have to, go buy a lot of, pay for a lot of money on your Super Bowl ticket, right? And you get to catch the game-winning Super Bowl field goal kick that won it for the Chiefs. Yes, right. This Australian football fan, in the back of the end zone, he bought his ticket last minute. So how much he spent for that, man? I'll tell you, probably about $6,000 at least, right? You're thinking. And he's in the back of the end zone, and he catches the field goal, the football, the game ball. There it is. That's it. Now, he's a legend in Australia. He's got a very valuable souvenir. I mean, he can sell that somewhere in Kansas City for quite a big dollar, or even somebody in Australia, anybody, any big football fan who's got some deep pockets. Well, who knows how it plays out? Would you sell it? Would you sell the Super Bowl game-winning kick field goal or something like that? Make a lot of money on it, or do you hang on to it just to look at it and go, amazing, and carry it around and showcase it? Which way is more valuable? I would hang on to it for a little time, and then I'd probably end up selling it. Then I could buy more footballs and go to more Super Bowls. All right, let me get this off the screen. Congratulations to the Australian who goes halfway around the world, buys a last-minute ticket, and gets the game-winning kick field goal. That's amazing. Johnny Graham from Australia says the guy is based in San Francisco, apparently. Oh, I get it. Okay, but he's Australian, right? So he's not really considered Australian, John. But it's a great story. It's a great story. And I'm sure his friends back in Australia are just freaking out too. But I'm happy for him. Christine, how are you, Christine? I got Isabel in the house, Audra in the house. And who else we got in the house here? I got a bunch of people popping in. Kathy in the house. They weren't all professionals. Some were local dancers picked to perform. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of the dancers at the halftime show, the ones on the stage were professionally picked. The ones that came in on the field and ran in late to fill up the field or were selected. They were also selected. They were recruited as dancers, looking for dancers itself. But yes, there's some truth to that. Anna in the house. Anna in the house. And Jose, how you doing, Jose? All right. Let's see. Yep. Oh, he is. Just didn't have to fly so far. That's funny. The Australian makes. Hey, I got my good guy on the other line here coming in. I didn't see Mark pop in. Mark Mancini. my head was turned. I'm looking at my other screen. Hang on, Mark. I gotta get my little earplugs in for you, man. I gotta hear your beautiful voice. But I was talking about this Australian guy. I'm gonna pop him on the screen. Hang on there. Here we go. There you go,
Wow.
man. All right. So this
Shit,
Australian.
hey man, what happened to the damn field there in Arizona, man?
Oh,
Everybody sliding around, man.
I'll get back to that. Good comment. We're just finishing up this. This guy caught the game-winning field goal. He's Australian, but he happens to live in San Francisco. We're finding out now because we have Australian fans and a good friend of the show who lives in Australia, and he knows this very well. And
Wow.
he says, but this guy is from Australia, happens to now
Yeah.
living in San, but he catches the game-winning kick. And he, would you sell it? Would you keep it? What would
Well,
you do with this ball?
well, it's amazing. I don't know, man. Hold on to it. That thing might go up to $1 million.
I'm selling at one
know.
point. I'm selling at one point.
You know what? I'm surprised they let him keep the footballs. Remember years back they used to try to recoup them and everything, but now they let them keep it. Wow, that's amazing,
dude. If they still were allowing that, like, say they were still taking the ball back for whatever reason.
Oh, I'd be a raccoon.
I would have grabbed. I would right. I'm out. Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm knocking over. I'm Jerome Bettis, man.
Hey, listen, I'm out looking like a raccoon with a Halloween mask.
There's no doubt they're not catching me. I don't care about the confetti moment, man. I'm out.
None of those cops that are 400 pounds eating jelly donuts is going to get me.
Well, I mean, they're not even in the stands, those cops. It's pretty much the yellow jackets, the security people. And they don't know what's happening.
They're big guys, too. They haven't missed too many meals.
But we're completely out of that stadium so fast. Like that commercial, like the Super Bowl commercial with the girl, the flag football. Just keep running. Don't stop.
Hey, we're there next year, man. Radio Row. I'm in Vegas next year.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Yes.
I had a weekend where the Bucks cleaned out the Clippers and my Penguins got aced. First game misconduct for Sidney Crosby in his career.
All right, let's get back to the Super Bowl grass. Your comments. Here's a photograph. This is George Toma, the sod father. I got this photo. He asked me to come onto the field. He asked me to come onto the field that's outside the stadium when they prep it and get it all ready, and then they slide it in, right? So I was talking to him because I had this little, like, dull moment where I was waiting for something, and he's like, I want a photo with you. He goes, come on the field. And so this is the photo. We took it.
Looks like a great guy, man. Look at that.
Oh, he gave me his business card. And right now I'm going to lay low for a little bit because he's 93 years old, but he's getting a lot of people are ripping on him. And he was not the main guy for the Super Bowl. This guy was the consultant for 54 years. The first 54 Super Bowls, he was the guy. He's retired. He's just he sat in a chair at the edge of the back of the end zone, like an old man, just watching the grass grow and the sunshine, and he was just giving some tips to his son who was running it with the other, groundskeepers, and the ones from the Cardinals were there and all the NFL people. And it was just putting together. But I will say this to come back to it one more time. I did it in the beginning of the show. I asked him, so how's it coming along with the field? And he says, it's not ready. He says it's coming along. Wow. But he wasn't quite, he wasn't quite satisfied. Now we're talking about 2 weeks before kickoff. Okay. But what crossed my mind was then, and I kind of let it go by because I figured they'll get it right. I mean, never had this problem, I thought, right? Is he would know better by 2 weeks if he's happy or not, or something, and I took it like, hey, Mr. Toma, you're probably like, yeah, we're not there yet and we'll be fine. But now looking back on it, I'm wondering, maybe it wasn't going as fast enough for the field to grab, and he wasn't quite happy with it, and they worked. It looked beautiful. It looked great. Everything about it. I will say the grass, literally, it was really cut short. It was really thinned down. And I don't know if that had a problem or not. There was a fast field, I thought. But then the sod, the roots, the brown part of the sod, it was like this thick. And it has to like grab into the sand pit. Like they made a big sandbox and then lay down the grass, and it has to hold. And you're giving it 4 weeks for this to happen. And for whatever reason, it didn't go well. And the Eagles are complaining. So your thoughts on the
That's
complaints.
the first thing I noticed. But the second thing, and I had the Eagles, so XM always is going to have fun with me tomorrow. Whatever I pick, take the opposite. But I called it 35-17, so I had the Eagles scoring 35 exactly. But unfortunately, the Chiefs put it more than 17. They put up 21 more. But that last call at the end, man, that's a barn burner, man. To take a
Mm.
life right out of somebody. I mean, you don't make a call like that.
It was definitely a tug.
Especially when that call, he didn't make that call. That's like a pitcher throwing in a game. And I was talking with my good buddy Ed Vosberg today that pitched 10 years in the big leagues.
Yeah.
Listen, when I gotta throw 5 strikes up there, eventually the guy's gonna hit it. If I have to throw 3, I got a puncher's chance.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with this call, man. I mean, you didn't make the call before. Now you're making the call with 2 minutes. It took the wind out of the Eagles' sails. You would have forced him on a field goal. Who knows what Jalen Hurts would have done?
Yeah, Mark, you're absolutely right. When I'm watching Super Bowl 57, this is a different angle. Obviously, it's probably from the first half, but
Yeah.
we're tied up. 2-point conversion. It's like, wow. Either we're going to have a magical, wild, exciting talk about finish, or we're going to overtime. And this is like it's lining itself up. It's like, and then you're right. The holding penalty that just gave him the winning field goal because it was 3rd down. Remember, folks, it was 3rd down, and that hold made him a 1st down. It would have been 4th down. They still would have kicked the field goal. They still kicked the field goal, but there would have been about a minute and 40, whatever, minute and 50 to go in the game. And Jalen Hurts was obviously, moving the ball. And,
I thought the Eagles were going to blow them out right away. I mean, they jumped down.
They had
the
him.
ball in the first quarter, and then they banged up Mahomes. But you can't let a team hang around. I was surprised they didn't get any sacks. They had 70 during the year. I mean, surprised they couldn't put one on the Chiefs. But
right.
And not only that, holding Kelsey, but you know what? Next year it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be Buffalo coming out of the AFC. I can't figure out who I got in the NFC. Now, if Eric Bieniemy goes to Washington, watch out. The Skins can do something. The Giants could be amazing. The Lions, but the NFC is pretty much wide open.
We have to wait and see. Quarterbacks, who's going where. Right? Where does Derek Carr go? Where does Garoppolo end up? Where does Aaron Rodgers when he comes out of the darkness?
Well, he's going to the Jets.
If he gets to the Jets, I'm not worried about Aaron Rodgers and him in the media, man. I'm not worried about it. He's a cool cat. He does not let things get to him. He'll smirk and he'll walk away. And like he said a few years ago, relax. Because that's his whole. He is the coolest. I'm telling you, he's the coolest. And the Jets need that. And Zach Wilson needs to watch this for a little bit and see and learn. And maybe that's how Zach emerges as a better NFL quarterback, right? And if he goes to New York. And the Jets have some talent, with all the honors and rookie of the year stuff. The Jets are they're moving, and the Bills need to be worried about that because the Jets are going to get more picks too. So the Jets are definitely on the radar if he goes there, Aaron Rodgers, no doubt.
Well, we can break. So in other words, what you're saying is you can break out the New York Sack Exchange T-shirt.
Speaking of Sack Exchange, Joe Klecko got to the Hall of Fame finally. He was part of that Sack Exchange. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. All right. So,
Marty Lyons. Who was the 4th guy? There was another guy in there.
Abdullah Salam.
Yeah.
Abdullah Salam. Yeah. The unknown guy. Right. All right. So, check this out. Game's over. Private jets. 200. More than 200 depart Arizona. They have it calculated. Look at the radar, the geographic radar up there with all pinkish red. Those are all flights leaving out of Phoenix in all directions, mostly going back east, if you can tell. But people fly in and fly out. They don't spend the night. They just come in and get out of town for the Super Bowl. The ones with the money. All right. Speaking of more, how about the Eagle fans, man? Not even Philadelphia fans. You lose the Super Bowl, you lose the World Series, you lose the MLS soccer championship game. You're 0-3. You struck out.
Bridesmaid.
Yeah. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I hope Philly fans acted pretty good after the game, though.
Yeah, not in
They
Philly. They started turning over cars and everything.
yeah, but at the stadium, I was wondering about that. But there were a couple of upset fans because of the call, the penalty, that bothered them. They hung on to that. Um, I was standing behind these five Eagle fans from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Okay, in the section where I was able to stand, and this lady, season ticket holder from Kansas City Chiefs, she's got this glittery Mahomes jersey on, all glitter stuff on it, and her friend had one, and she goes, "Can I stand with you? I'm so nervous. It's like 2.5 to go. It's like 5 minutes to go in the game. I'm so nervous." And the Eagles scored and tied it, and she's, "I'm so nervous. Oh my gosh, I can't take this. I can't." And she's turning her head. She's a mess, right?
Oh,
Because why do they always do this to me? Why do they? I goes, "It's Mahomes. He always has to wait for the last minute." He goes, "He does this all the time, but I believe, I believe." And she was such a happy lady when it all played out. She didn't care how they won, but the Eagle fans in front of me, you know, bickering and the two dynamics right in front of me, it was pretty amazing watching
yeah.
that.
Well, you know what? And I don't think we'll see can't. Well, I said this the last time Kansas City got beat by Tampa. I don't think we'd see the Chiefs anytime soon, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty convinced right now we're not going to see the Chiefs anytime soon. I don't know what the odds makers are. And I'm going to tell you, man, laying down a $50 bit to get 15-1 odds that the Dodgers won't make the playoffs. I can't believe these idiots that are telling me that the Dodgers are going to win 95 games. And there must be the same idiots that are telling me the Kansas City Chiefs are getting back to the Super Bowl. What is that? I mean, a team that wins automatically, you're guaranteeing they're getting back to the Super Bowl and winning it.
If they are, then they're definitely in that dynasty type of mentality. If they do, and that's hard to do. It's hard to get there, and but they got
I
two.
think the Chiefs. Well, I think personally, and not to knock anything about Kansas City, but I personally think they snuck up on a lot of teams and they avoided, the teams that to get to the Super Bowl. You had to play Cincinnati. If you had to play Buffalo and Cincinnati, that probably would have
Mm-hmm.
softened you up a little. Jacksonville was beat up. You somehow secured the number one bye because Buffalo and Cincinnati couldn't secure that on their own. So I
Right.
think they snuck up on a few people. The division was bad. Let's face it, the Chargers are nothing. And they took on a Philly team that had their worst game of the whole season.
I agree. It wasn't everything fell, and they only won by 3 points. So
Yeah,
so let's see here. Hey, Thomas Gutierrez in the house. Audra says, "Do you think Gronk is going to come out of retirement?" I don't think so. I think he's done. Jono says, "Surely you keep the ball, keeping it and leaving the game as soon as possible." Like us, you run out of
yeah,
the stadium.
too funny.
uh, yeah, it's pretty funny itself. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk here in Arizona. It's a big day. New head coach announced. Also, a new player announced, Kevin Durant. Okay, and there's something stuck in the middle of this when it comes to the NFL. So, and Gannon. The new coach, Jonathan Gannon of the Arizona Cardinals, really said a lot of good things and a different perspective. It just immediately getting along with Kyler Murray at this, until you play the games and you get frustrated, things can change. But this is a good thing to see. I want to talk more about this. The press conference today went very well. A lot of confidence, a lot of enthusiasm. Players showed up, and it seemed like the Cardinals, feel strongly about their man. They got their man, and a lot of people were doubting and questioning this. And I have a comeback on the hiring of this guy. I have something for you to read. I really wanted to do it to you. Hang on here, and I'm going to find it for you. Okay, but I will say this: when it comes to the Cardinals itself and their new coach. Where is it, Mark? Here it is. Here it is. Okay, so John Gannon said the Cardinals will work on a plan at quarterback if Murray is unable to play. So they'll have a plan. They have a scenario. They're looking at it. Understand what they got to do. I have a very specific vision of how I want to play on offense, he said. The person that comes in and runs the offense is going to understand that everything we do will be structured around the quarterback position to maximize his skill set. So he's talking about the offensive coordinator, and he talks a lot about maximizing all his players' skill set week to week, game to game, not just some scheme that they're going to, this is their style and this is what they're going to bring. They're going to just readjust and adjust week to week and scheme. And I think that's pretty common in a lot of ways, but there's a style. I'm not quite sure. That's what they did in Philadelphia. That was the Philly way, and it was very successful. Eventually, you start to learn about, your role. He also said about his defense, who's calling on defense is he did not commit to the defensive play calling, he said. He didn't rule it out either. It'll depend on a little bit on the makeup of the coaching staff. I got a real bad blueprint in Philly. Not really good blueprint, not bad. And he adapted to make our team better. So, the head coach and the defensive coordinator working together on this. Both Murray and Zach Ertz rehabbing in Tempe, got to meet the new coach, and Murray and tight end Ertz each coming back from ACL injuries itself. Ertz says, I'm excited where we are right now, and we'll reach 3 months post-surgery on Saturday. He's excited about his comeback in rehab, and talking about his new coach, he says he's about 80% for him right now. He's not quite there. I need to be at my best for this organization to be successful. Ertz was with the Eagles when Gannon was there in 2021 until the trade to Arizona itself. Murray is about 6 weeks post-surgery, and a video on social media of him rehabbing, including riding a bike. So he has begun. And they said that they will not rush Kyler Murray, which means you may not see him for a full season until he's really ready. He's doing a great job, Ertz said, about his coach. Obviously, I'm not with him every day, but from I can tell you he's doing everything he can to attack this thing. Talking about now about Kyler Murray, 6 weeks. There's a lot of alone time. Man, when this thing is going to feel better, you just have to find small victories. At the end of the day, Kyler is going to do everything he can to do the best version of himself. So they're talking a lot of hype with Kyler Murray. They act like they're going to fix him. This is all going to get fixed and corrected, and everything's going to be a lot better than it was with Cliff Kingsbury, as if Kingsbury was the problem. And a lot of people in Arizona are not quite digging that, okay? No offensive scheme, he said. It'll be week to week, individual matchups, things like that on defense and also on offense. A little bit more about this on Super Bowl 57, he said. The coach, Jonathan Gannon of the Arizona Cardinals, that he went back to his hotel room Sunday night and watched the game. He needed to watch the game film. It bothered them that much, which was hard because you feel for the players when you get to the game. I didn't feel sorry for myself, he said. I felt bad about the players and not getting the owner and Jeffrey Lurie another ring, and the Eagles general manager Howie another ring, and head coach Nick his first ring. He felt a lot of guilt and bad because they gave up 38 points. What went wrong? Is this an indicator of what could happen in Arizona, right?
Well, I think here's the problem here. I mean, we see teams that have successful seasons, and then they raid the offensive coordinator, Indianapolis, or defensive coordinator going to Arizona, or vice versa, or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Sirianni's got it left with now, building something back up. You can't build a good team now. The Eagles will be hard pressed to repeat. But the real guy here is, and I think he's going to be the front runner to be the offensive coordinator in Washington. Why wasn't this guy chosen to lead Arizona? Was Eric Bieniemy?
Wow, you hit it. That was my next story. I had a photo. Yeah. I was ready for him.
I don't understand that. I really don't understand. I mean, I got to know his brother when I was at Palomar, and I don't understand why Eric Bieniemy wasn't considered to be a part of this team.
It was very the guy didn't have a job, not Bieniemy. Jonathan Gannon. Game is over. He gets the call to meet with the Cardinals. Within 48 hours, they hire him. The guy never had any experience, hasn't won anything, very young at his job, very new to everything, had some success. Don't know if it's all on him, and he got a lot of credit now. That's why he got the job. He sounded good. He said all the right things. But did he do enough of what Eric Bieniemy did?
I don't think so.
Super Bowl rings, Super Bowls, that's
the only advantages he's got is the NFC is completely wide open in that division and in the conference. Can you give me three teams right now? You'd have three different teams that potentially could get to the Super Bowl next year in the NFC. You don't get that. You might even have more than that.
But what? But the
But
enemy
you don't
never
have
should have
that
been
in the
ignored.
AFC.
The enemy got ignored. This one is really weird. Now there's talk that he needs to go to another team just to prove that he can win without the Chiefs. I'm going, what the heck? How does Jonathan Gannon get the opportunity to do something without proving anything? Why does
Right.
maybe Gannon need to go somewhere else to show that he can do it without the Eagles? Why does the enemy have to do it? That's the part that's weird.
The Chiefs have been there 3 of the last 4 years and won 2.
I just don't get it.
I don't understand it.
The Cardinals feel like they hired the best guy, but it's just, man, it's just kind of like, how do you ignore Eric Bieniemy? And you hire a guy that now is being told that you probably got to go somewhere else to kind of separate yourself from Andy Reid.
It's like, look at us. We're damn good doing it, what we do. And then we get guys that are making 4 times the amount that don't interview half the guys we interview.
Remember, without Eric Bieniemy, he doesn't win Super Bowls. Andy Reid never won a Super Bowl until he had Eric Bieniemy.
Andy Reid would have been outside. They would have had a statue of Andy Reid outside of Tommy's.
With a burger in his hand.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I just don't understand. But, you can say everything right now, and everybody can have a kumbaya marshmallow setting there in Phoenix. But let's face it, the Cardinals need a lot more than a head coach there.
They do.
They got to look at a quarterback. They got to look at guys. I mean, is this team built? Is this team built to win the NFC West?
Right now, they're not. They got a long way to go. They have to retool. It may take them 2 years to get this right. They got a window. But the fact that they think and believes he'll get Murray fixed or back on track, you better have more talent to help the guy out. There's still some handicaps with the small quarterback. This is a defensive coach, not an offensive coordinator. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to play out. I mean, he said all the right things. I mean, who are you bringing in as an offensive coordinator?
I don't know. The XFL or the USFL, the Arizona Wranglers can beat the Arizona Cardinals.
All right.
So we got the XFL coming this weekend, baby.
Yes. Oh, hey. So we're going to stay in Arizona and talk about the Phoenix Suns. We're going to talk about another big press conference. Now they introduce Phoenix Suns Kevin Durant. This is a photo shot from the press conference itself. Durant is a Phoenix Sun. We knew this, but introduced today, and that's a big, exciting time to see. The whole saying Suns in 4, Suns in 4, Suns in 4. Well, go back to that photograph. 4. You tell me right now who has those kind of 4 players on the court at the same time that can match up against these guys. Think about that.
I love my Milwaukee Bucks, and they hate me in Phoenix on this one, but I will tell you this. I'm telling you right now, I like the Warriors to come out of the West. People are saying, what are you drinking? I'm not drinking anything. I'm just looking at what this team, they got a great coach in Steve Kerr, Troy Loney they got over there, Jordan Poole. You get Curry, you got Trey Thompson. I mean, they got guys there, and they got a guy that can pull down boards. And Draymond Green's. I like the Warriors. Everybody else can talk Denver and Phoenix, and here come the Lakers and maybe the Clippers. But if you put a gun to my head and tell me who's coming out of the West, I'm telling you the Warriors.
Well, the Warriors are going to get healthier. We'll see how they mesh and come together as a team. They still have a lot of issues. But their health is the reason why and they still got to make the playoffs. They still got to get in, but they can get in. They will be dangerous because they'll be healthier, and they're a veteran team in a lot of ways, and they know how to play as a team. So, AKA the San Antonio Spurs kept on winning and sticking around because they knew how to play together as a team. The core players, and Golden State has core players. This Phoenix Suns basketball team going to have 20 games or so to kind of figure out how this is all going to play. The thing that's so dynamic about it, every one of those guys but Aiton can bring the ball up as a point guard. That is different because now the Suns can create matchups or different rotations on the floor, a different play, right? I mean, it's like that is a dynamic that not a lot of teams in the NBA, not the Bucks. Boston does have a couple of guys that can bring the ball up, but when you're
Well, I
talking
think
about
yeah,
the Suns, that look
I think
good.
the Bucks can really match up because Grayson Allen is a steal. He's a legit 3-pointer. You've got Connaughton that can hit. You got two great guards in there, and Drew Holiday that can split defenses. You
Right.
got Chris Middleton. You got Giannis there, and then you got Bobby Portis. The Bucks are a dangerous team. The Bucks are coming out of the East. They've won 11 in a row, and everybody thinks the Celtics are this and that. Celtics are good, but I don't think the Celtics. They're a small team that can't match up. Milwaukee can spread you out. Philly's another dangerous one.
But I'm going to stick. I mean, we should have a rematch of Bucks and Suns in the finals from 2 years ago. And
That would be a hell of a finals.
I think the NBA would like that because it has more of a redemption game to it, redemption feel to it. And then Giannis is he's the biggest name in the NBA and probably the best player in the NBA. And that would bring a lot of, and then it's just a little bit of a rival that can develop, NBA final style, when you have.
Well, now I imagine the ticket prices have gone through the roof in Phoenix.
It's 2 weeks ago it was freaking $5, $10. You could online, you could have bet the Suns to win the NBA title at like 600 plus 600, or plus 1,000. It was like that ridiculous, I don't know exactly, but it was very much a long shot. Okay. And then within 1 week, it was a plus 200 and top of the Western Conference as the number one favorite to go
to
the NBA Finals.
I don't know what you're getting. Let's put it this way. I don't have Kevin Durant in my top 25 of all time. I've been blessed enough to interview him a couple times. But you know what? When you look at this team, all you got to look at is the debacle in Brooklyn. Irving, Harden, and him were on the floor for 16 games only. I mean, come on. I mean, how many games is he going to be on the floor for this one? Who knows if he's getting in there in another month or so? And you got to work with these guys. I mean, I know.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Denver. They talk Denver being a team you got to watch out for. But let's face it, Denver's a great regular season team, and we've seen a lot of these regular season teams. The Dodgers, the Bills. We're not interested in regular season teams. We're interested in somebody holding down a title. And people talking about Jokic winning a third title in a row. Are you kidding me? I take Dan Issel over Jokic. The game has changed today.
I know. Well, everybody's excited.
Embiid, I would take over Jokic.
Everybody's excited. What's going to happen now that hey, here in Arizona, it's been rough. Right now, it's been a rough. Coyotes are just, rebuilding again.
Keep your eyes on the Diamondbacks, man. They're coming.
We're waiting. The Diamondbacks got some talent, and they can make the playoffs, and there's something brewing there, and we got to wait and see. But the hype is there. But Cardinals a big dud. The Suns, had a dud season going on. There wasn't much going on. ASU football.
The Dodgers, they signed David Peralta. I go, wow. Come on, man. Peralta, Syndergaard, JD Martinez. I mean, what are we talking about? This is going to strike. They're projected to win 96 games. Are you smoking something? This team will be closer to the 80 wins.
Well, we'll see. It doesn't take much. If you're a decent team, getting to 90 wins is close to it. But the Dodgers.
I don't know, man. This team's got a lot of question marks. If you ask,
they got a lot of pitching issues. But we'll talk more baseball in a little bit. I want to finish up with the Suns itself. That if they don't get to the NBA Finals after this trade, it's a big dud. I mean, last night Brooklyn Bridges goes off for like 40 whatever points.
Yeah, Mikal Bridges.
And he's so happy. He loves his nickname, Brooklyn Bridge or Brooklyn Bridges. I love it too. I may actually go get a Mikal Bridges jersey from a Brooklyn Nets jersey, just with his name on it. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
I was born in Brooklyn, so I got to have some relation to this.
The other guy you gave up was a good one too, and Cam Johnson.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
I
the
like
the
him.
the Nets did very very well, and there's a lot of promise in the future for them. But for the Suns, it's now.
Yeah,
And fans complained about the trade and giving up so much, but it's like, folks, this team's been around for a very long time now. You've been to the finals 3 times. He lost both times, all 3 times by in game 6. You were up 2-0 in the last one, and you blew it. You choked. And the new ownership, which said you like, it's clear. If you haven't figured it out by now, they're about winning now and doing whatever it takes now, which means next year they'll do something else to get the right players in here. This is not a team that's going to wait around. They realize they have a core. They have Chris Paul that has maybe a year or two in his legs, and who knows about Durant. So it's a now thing. It is a
yeah,
now thing. And the ownership of the Suns is going to go for it for the next couple of years. So the Suns should be around. And I just hope everything is healthy. Like, players are healthy, and we get the best, and we see a great show. We see this
yeah,
team come together. Okay, because you think about it, Chris Paul, guy, guy's legend, right? Uh, Devin Booker is putting a name, but Booker is not going to do what Durant does. I would trust Durant with 5 seconds on the clock than Booker. I would.
yeah.
I think Durant's a better shooter, and
Well,
I trust him.
he could post you up too.
Post you up is so much, and he can pass it back out if he had to. There's more. He is the focal point, and they got to get this right. They're gonna. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch, and it's going to be frustrating because it's never easy to put together that much talent.
Well, and plus,
And
I like your coach, Monty Williams. If he wasn't coaching, he'd look like he'd play on Let's Make a Deal.
that's so fun. I liked him at Notre Dame. He was one of my favorite
Yeah,
college players way
yeah.
back when. But I was hoping that he would be a better
Wow.
NBA
I
player.
can't believe this show goes by quick. Now, next week, I'll be in here longer. You know that, man.
I know. Hey, I want to throw this out here for all our baseball fans. Okay, the pitch clock is 15 seconds. Okay, now I want you to look at this. Okay, look on the screen and read this to me. Okay, I want you to look at it for me. Okay, it says 15 seconds with the bases empty. Okay, the pitch clock. Okay, 20 seconds with runners on base. So you have 20 seconds to pitch the ball. 15 seconds when there's no runners on base. Okay, 30 seconds in between hitters. So you got 30 seconds to pitch the ball. Now, hitters get one timeout in the batter's box. They just can't, they only get one timeout. And violations would be a ball or a strike, depending on, a hitter or a batter situation, right? So if the pitcher takes too long, it'll become a ball. If the batter calls too many timeouts, it becomes a strike. Okay. So there's some rules to this pitch clock thing, and you're going to learn more about it as you watch your baseball team. So again, bases empty, 15 seconds, 20 seconds if there's a runner on base, 30 seconds in between batters, and a hitter only gets one timeout. I can deal with that. The game will definitely be sped up a little bit more. That's no doubt about that. Also, the game itself is getting bigger, larger, wider.
Yeah. Well, the bases look like pizza boxes.
It is. It's the 30-inch pizza pie. Hey,
Yeah,
come on
Dominoes.
now.
Just
Yeah,
put
yeah.
a Dominoes thing on there.
I just want the 20-inch one in the middle,
Yeah,
Now
crazy, man.
look at the size of the bases. You're right. It's like but this is to help prevent injuries, ankles, guys, more room to step on a bag. It's kind of like the old slow pitch softball league bases, where they kind of had
Nick, if this doesn't work, they're going to bring a mattress out there. Just have a mattress. Just step anywhere on the mattress, fall on it, you're safe.
So the
I don't
bases are
understand.
bigger.
Baseball was never meant to have a time clock, and Manfred's trying to put all these in place.
I know. The clock, yeah. The timeouts in the batter's box doesn't have to deal with the clock. It's more of this is what the rule is, and you only get one.
The walk-up music. Can you imagine being a relief pitcher and you're coming into the Undertaker's music? Now you got a rush job on that.
You do.
I mean,
You're right. Absolutely right. They're still going to keep the ghost runner at second for the regular season. They did say that you can only use uh, um, players who are not pitchers.
Yeah.
But you can only use them like I think like late in the game or extra innings or something where you like they're trying to prevent teams just to quit on the game. And it's like I don't like that either because it's okay. You're getting smoked
Yeah.
19-5. Why are you so worried about it's in the fifth inning that you still got to use one of your pitchers? There are certain rules,
Yeah.
um, but they're trying to not allow teams to use or at a certain point in the game using position players as pitchers to save the bullpen. I'd rather save the bullpen. It's okay to wave the white flag itself. All right, Mark. All right, there's the bases anyway. All right, Mark. All right, so we wrapped up the Super Bowl. We broke it down a little bit. We talked about the turf. Hey, I talked about Rihanna a little bit,
Yeah.
and I thought she was fantastic. And the fact that she had the second highest rating since 2017, and the halftime show has dropped since
Yeah.
2017, and she spiked it up to
She
one of the
did, but you
second.
know what? You know what? Give me the late great Raquel Welch over Rihanna.
I
Oh
wouldn't
my
mind a
God.
fashion show, a fashion show with some music. That would be fun. No, I don't think
Okay,
the little
Raquel,
kids.
man, what's going on? We lost Tim McCarver. We lost Brett Boone. Man, we're losing people every day.
um, I would say
Sad.
this. What, Brett Boone?
Bob Boone.
Bob. Okay, I was gonna say, man. Oh, yeah, yeah. That's a sad story. McCarver itself. Um, McCarver. I met him a few times at
Yeah.
the World Series, and he's just really a brilliant baseball mind.
Yeah.
And lot of people didn't like him because he was but he was good, and
Yeah,
he
he
said a lot
was.
of accurate things. But he was definitely a baseball legend in a lot of ways, announcer and player itself. One of the best catchers of all time too.
Yeah.
People don't give him enough credit for that too. But then again, he was catching Bob Gibson and some great pitchers at his time too. So you got to
Wow.
think about that.
So
Go ahead.
next week, man, we're gonna have a big show. We're gonna have talking XFL, talking the Suns, bringing the hockey. We're getting into the draft. Baseball, everybody will be starting to report. We'll have some spring training games. You might be at one of those games reporting.
I will be. In spring training, I'll figure out which one I want to go to.
The
I'll
World
probably want to go.
Baseball Classic.
That's a bigger one. No,
Yeah.
that's a big one. I'm definitely got NASCAR coming up here in Arizona. I know the Daytona 500 is coming up. I still watch that. I think it's fun. But we got a NASCAR race coming. We got spring training. We got the World Baseball Classic going on here. I got the Arabian Horse Show here in Scottsdale. I got to go
Well,
to.
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice day to relax and watch. The Arabian Horse Show. It's a beautiful show,
Yeah.
actually. But anyway, where did you watch the game, man? Like, what did you do on Super Bowl Sunday?
I went to a nice big sports bar and enjoyed it with a bunch of people, and it was great, man. Great little thing, man.
Eh,
That's
Were
what
you
I
happy?
did.
Were you happy with
I,
how
I,
the
I
game?
was, I was happy with the Eagles, but at the end, man, it was kind of frustrating on that call. But you know,
Have you been on the show in Philadelphia since the Super
yeah,
Bowl?
I was with
Well,
on the show this afternoon and with Ed Vosberg and former Major League Baseball pitcher, 10 years in the big leagues.
But how are the fans treating it? Like, it's been a few days now.
Well, the car bombings have stopped. They've taken bullet night and handgun night off the schedule in Philadelphia, so everything else is, pretty mild. I don't know. I'm going to be talking to Lisa Guerrero on Tuesday. Maybe I'll find out what she thought of the Super Bowl.
Hey, there's a lot of stars at the Super Bowl. There's so many of them. It's kind of cool to see it, but then again, I kind of went like, whatever.
But you know what I really liked out of all of them? Carissa Thompson. Oh, did you get to see Carissa Thompson?
Yes, I did. I'm not gonna say. Yeah, but she was. You know what? She works hard.
She's a great lady.
Yeah, she works hard. She came out of the green room wearing her pink outfit.
Yeah.
And she was just amped up, to ready to get out there and have a big day. And that was a big day for her. it was a big day for her to be at the Super Bowl. I think
Yeah.
they all look good. I thought the announcers did great. I thought Burkett did a great job, Kevin, for the Fox broadcast itself. I mean, this guy was not even close to the booth like this a year ago, right? And then all of a sudden, here he is at the Super Bowl, and I thought he handled it well. I thought the
Gronk is a
play-by-play.
great guy, man. I love Gronk. I've had a chance to talk to him quite a few times, and big Buffalo Sabre guy, man. Loves
Hey,
his hockey.
Derek Jeter's part of the baseball Fox
I saw that
on Fox. What do you think?
I like it. I like Derek Jeter. They're loading up with Yankees over there. I'm waiting for Mariano Rivera to join them.
Well, I think A-Rod's feeling a little bit. A-Rod's always been kind of like he wants to be Derek.
Yeah.
But I saw A-Rod. He walked past me.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I don't know if the Yankees come in Arizona, but the Yankees and Astros come into Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, I want to go there. I haven't missed that series since they've been playing each other again. So I'll have to get back out there.
Last time I went to that series, they were Mario Rivera was doing his swan song.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's the last time the Yankees have been in here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm also gonna watch them play the Angels. It's like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's a great time to go. It's not going to be sold out. It's a Southern California traffic. Try to get to the stadium day. So you got. But I'm gonna go check out.
Yeah,
the
I like
Yankees
this.
then.
Everybody plays everybody. The Pirates come in after the All-Star break in Anaheim for a weekend. So. I told my good friend, the GM there, that I enjoy the Angels, but Pirates are coming in to take 3 games on you guys.
Hey, Ed, we'll get into baseball predictions, but I'm gonna tap my brakes on the Padres. I got to see better pitching. They got a lot of veteran arms.
Hey, come on. They just loaded up Michael Walker down there. They got 6 legit starters.
Yeah, but they're all aging starters. And can they go more than 5 or 5 innings? Like,
have you looked at the Dodgers starters anytime recently?
Oh, I agree. The Dodgers got a lot of issues, and their younger arms really need to step up, or yikes. And I don't know how Kershaw can keep going, but in their bullpen, I think they definitely are not the same team.
I'm about ready to give I'm telling you right now, the over-under, Kershaw won't win more than 13 games.
Wow. I'm thinking more like 10 or over and under 10.
Yeah.
I honestly, he gets hurt every year, and I don't know how he's going to hold up, on that body of his too. But we'll talk all about that.
Urias is another one that he was 17-7. He might have burned out his arm. Who knows, how much he's got in his tank.
You really don't like the Dodgers, I can tell.
I can tell. Me on a wanted poster on every telephone pole in the city.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Yeah, definitely next week, man.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We have no more football. I'm not really going to talk a whole lot of football unless some big story breaks or
keep it going. We don't shut down after football. We keep it going, man. We got the Suns. We got the Coyotes. We got everything.
Hey, Coyotes. Hey, man, big vote coming up. The people of Tempe now have the final say. Everything has been cleared. The city, everybody have cleared it for the big arena, the big entertainment place on Tempe Lake there right by Arizona State. Comes down to a prop 301, 302, or 303, all 3 of them to vote yes on in Tempe. The people of Tempe, the citizens of Tempe, are going to vote on it. Do the right thing. Vote yes on all 3 of them. It's like, yes, it's going to be, but it's only like 41 games out of the year, folks, right?
Yeah.
And it changes everything, right? Tempe is become will be more like the Westwood of LA. Like it's that
the Coyotes are here Saturday night.
Yeah, they won last night. They beat the Lightning 1-0 in a shootout situation. But hey, the Coyotes are a couple of years away. I think the Cardinals are a couple of years away. And I don't know about
now, and the Diamondbacks are probably a year out.
Yeah, the Suns are definitely now. There's no doubt. And we're waiting for Arizona State football to see where they're at with their new coach too. Yeah. So, all right, Mark. Hey, anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
No, they're gonna roast me tomorrow on XM about the prediction I made. So, I'll fill you in because I came up short. I lived up to my moniker, world's worst handicap. handicapper.
Oh, I get it. Well, Mark, just say this. On paper, you are absolutely correct. On paper. Because you know why, Mark? The Eagles were not supposed to turn the ball over into a touchdown, right? It wasn't supposed to be a defensive touchdown. Punt returns, right? Penalties, right? They slip it and slant. Everything went right for the Chiefs. And some of it was unforced stuff. Like it was just Eagles screwing up. And they only won by 3. So you are absolutely right. And that on paper, they were supposed to blow them out. And yes, we've seen upsets in football, and you should be no problem of you being, upset about that. If they want to roast you, then they're not seeing the real stuff.
We got to get this Bills girl wants to get on our show. I might get her in here next week. Talk Bills.
Oh, Buffalo, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
diehard Bills fan. So who knows?
All right, Mark. We'll get you out of here.
I love you, brother. I can't wait till next week. Have a blessed one, man. You're the best.
All right, buddy. Mark Mancini, the madman himself. He is out. All right. Hanna Time. Cornelius, Brad, Hanna. Folks, hey, keep it right here. Next week, Hanna Time. Cornelius, Brad, Hanna. Have a good night, everybody.